So, I wanted to talk a little bit today about mindfulness and how it relates to time, tempo, um, being on the beat in music. A lot of people ask me about practicing with a metronome. I'm an upright bass player in addition to playing trombone and tuba, and I play a lot of swing, jazz, bluegrass, folk, Balkan music, other stuff, and I've got relentless and impeccable time. Not perfect, but I'm really, really solid. And the way I've gotten there, I actually never practice with a metronome. I just don't bother with it. Other people do, and it works for them. You know, your mileage may vary. There's reasons to practice with a metronome. As a studio musician, there's the skill of playing along with a click, and that's a valuable thing to develop. But for me personally, developing my sense of time hasn't come by using a metronome at all. It's much more about mindfulness and awareness and hearing what's coming out of your instrument. So, you know, when I practice, I'm trying to really zone in on that time and trying to find my internal sense of where the beat is. And, you know, if I'm practicing a walking bass line, I'm listening, I'm thinking, all right, I'm feeling that internal clock that's telling me, ba-doon, doon, 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 ga-doon, doon, doon. And if I'm doing little things, ga-doon or you know, those little accents, those little triplets or grace notes or whatever, those are the moments where my time might get tripped up. So I'm like paying extra close attention to those bits. When I'm practicing trombone or tuba, or I'm playing a melody, or I'm just soloing by myself over a tune, that's another spot for me to just listen and hear where the time is. Because as a melody player, you're equally responsible for the time as the rhythm section. And so, you know, again, when you're practicing with a metronome, it's very easy to kind of zone out and feel like, oh, I got this metronome telling me beep, 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 beep. And the metronome is relentless. The metronome keeps going. So you feel like you're in time. You think you're keeping time, but really you're just relying on the crutch, and you're not noticing the little micro adjustments that you're making to stay in time with it. And in the studio, that is the worst possible thing that you can do. You know, if the click is going in your headphones and you're playing, and then all of a sudden you notice, oh, we're ahead of the click, and then you drag the beat back. Oh my God, it's the groove killer. It's the worst. It is the groove killer. Or if you find you're behind the beat and then you rush to catch up. Again, it's just like, what just happened there? You know, you listen back to the track without the click, and those moments are just horrible. So, again, you know, there are different purposes for having a click or not having a click in the studio. For me, the styles of music that I play and the way that I like to approach them with a vintage mindset in a lot of different aspects, I find that playing without a click is often the best way to go in the studio. Often. Again, your mileage may vary. There's a lot of different purposes for it. But developing that sense of time, you get so much better of an actual groove, even if there is a little push or a little drag, as long as it's musical. But back to how you develop that sense of time without practicing with a metronome, it's all about mindfulness and awareness and really, really hearing what is coming out of your instrument. So when you go to practice and you're working on something and you're like, oh man, I always speed up or I always slow down on this passage, on this classical piece or this big band chart or whatever, or I have a tough time soloing over this song at this tempo without dragging back. Well, the thing to do is just go through those passages or go through those sections or those aspects that you know are difficult for you, and really, really listen when you're practicing them. And that can be hard to do, and it can be hard to really hear yourself. So recording yourself is a totally invaluable tool that you can use. You record yourself, you listen, you get in your mindful zone so that you really hear what is coming out of the instrument. And you feel that internal sense of time. And the second that you notice, oh, I pushed that, or I dragged that, or my time wasn't solid on that, just stop, go back, try it again. Or correct for it if you're in the middle and you want to just keep going. But just notice it. Notice it. That's the number one tool, awareness. Being aware of what you've just done. Being aware of what just happened. So noticing the thing, correcting it, going back and changing it, you know, recording yourself and listening back and saying to yourself, like, okay, I think I was pretty steady. Now let me listen through and really zone in on my headphones. Oh man, I sped up and I didn't notice. Okay, why didn't I notice? Let me go back and try that again, do another recording. Was I still speeding up in the same way? Was it different? Am I consistently doing the wrong thing, or am I all over the place? So awareness is the key for all of these things. So that's how I've developed my internal sense of time. Again, I'm not perfect, but I do a pretty darn good job of keeping the rhythm section together, or as a horn player, whether I'm playing lead trombone, keeping the section together, or if I'm a soloist, taking a solo break, a 2-bar break or something like that, you've got to keep it right in time so that the rest of the band knows when to come back in, and so that it feels good. It's all about awareness. And mindfulness meditation, Tai Chi, Bagua, Kung Fu, those are all things that have helped me be aware and really just like strip away all the distractions in your head and not go on autopilot. That's the big key. It's easy to go on autopilot, and it's hard to do something you've done a million times before and really hear it like you're doing it for the first time. So there you go. That's how to work in your time. Mindfulness and music.